Thank you for joining me for another video. Today is going to be a question and answer video dating back to the video series that I did about the Torah tradition. Specifically, the question has to do with, I mentioned that the prophets are not allowed to be under the influence of anything when they receive their prophecies, when they are in a prophetic state, and the reason for that is so that everyone just sort of accepts it. If somebody is under the influence of something whenever he's receiving this message, okay, well, of course he saw a six-winged angel completely and totally covered in eyes. The guy's stoned out of his gourd, of course he did. That sort of a thing. If you've never read the prophetic books, go do that, because there's some stuff in there that's just sort of like, you read it and you're just like, what is going on here? But the question was, if it's not being used for mystical purposes, or in the case of, and I don't have the question right in front of me, my phone is, I left it in my bedroom, so I don't have it right now to refer to, but I'm going to answer the question anyway. The question is, if somebody is under the influence of some sort of substance and it's not for prophetic or mystical use, is that allowed? So very first thing that I'm going to say, and it's obvious from the question, especially since I was talking with the questioner, the inquirer. Ooh, yeah, I'm sticking with that one. I was talking about it with the inquirer, but it was clear from the context that he was not asking me about prescription drugs. But let's talk about that very briefly. If you are Jewish, you are obligated by the Torah. You do not have a choice. If a doctor prescribes you medication, you take it. If you need it, you take it. End of story. Because the Torah tells us that we are to live through the mitzvot. The implication there is you are not allowed to keep the Torah so piously that you die because you decline doing something. Okay, good case in point is after the Holocaust, as the concentration camps were being liberated by Allied troops, they brought them food, because these are people that were mostly starved, so they brought food. It doesn't matter at that point if the food is a bacon cheeseburger or what. Because there is a very real concern for death, even the most pious Jew is obligated to eat. It doesn't matter how kosher it is, he is obligated to eat to preserve his life. Now, there are three things that the Torah, that we're not allowed to do, that the Torah specifically tells us we're not allowed to do, but that tradition also tells us that we're not allowed to do it under any circumstances. Those three are adultery, idolatry, and murder. Even if someone holds a gun to your head and says, commit adultery or murder, or worship my God, apostatize from Judaism and worship my God, you are, if you're Jewish, you are under an obligation to choose death in that case. Now, if you're not Jewish, that doesn't apply. But in general, yeah, you should still sort of stick to the same rules that Jews have. It just sort of goes better for you in the end. Although, theoretically, you don't have to choose death. You can choose whatever you feel like. Theoretically. Now, back to the topic at hand. When it comes to prescription drugs, you are obligated to take them if you are prescribed them for anything that is life-threatening or for anything that decreases the quality of life that you may have. So say you've got a really high fever, but you know that you can make it without taking whatever high-powered medications the doctor has prescribed to you. No, you are obligated to take it. Don't wait for your fever to reduce. No, just take it. I don't care how it makes you feel. God really doesn't care how it makes you feel. If we're talking about the preservation of life or improving the quality of life, you are obligated to take it as long as the doctor prescribed it to you. Now, that's not really what the question was about. The question was really about the fun kind of drugs, right? Hallucinogens. How can I say this without getting in trouble with YouTube? Cannabis, edible things, smokable things, technically drinkable things falls under that category. What about those things that are perhaps medicinal, perhaps not? Well, again, if it's medicinal, if it was prescribed by a doctor, you are obligated to take it. That being said, I have to throw out this disclaimer because I will see somebody try to twist my words and try to get me in trouble. If, theoretically, you live in a country where you are not allowed to take certain substances, you live in a place where cannabis is outlawed, you live in a place where alcohol is outlawed, and yes, those places exist. You live in a place where you're not allowed to take hallucinogens of any sort. Okay, so you're not allowed. If there is a law prohibiting its use, the general rule is you're obligated to follow the law. If there is a conditional use allowed, so say for example, in the state of Florida right now, cannabis use is totally legal as long as you are doing it for medicinal purposes, right? And there are actually a lot of different medicinal purposes for a lot of these, party drugs, drugs that people take, because they want to get high or whatever the case may be. They are, maybe they want to experience a prophetic vision. I don't know. But there are some exceptions to that rule. So, for example, in the state of Florida, cannabis use is used for medicinal purposes legally. Any other substance that can be used medicinally, so you can use it medicinally in those places. According to halakha, because this is a place where the law that says dina de malachutha dina, whatever the law of the kingdom is, that's the law. The law of the land is, that's the law. The word malachutha actually means kingdom. That's why I translated it that way. I meant to say the law of the land. That's the law. So if you live in a place where you're not allowed to have cannabis, okay, so don't. That's the law. That's halakha. Okay. Now, if you're not Jewish, again, this doesn't technically apply to you, but you should still, in general, sort of keep with it. Now, when it comes to recreational use, okay, the Torah doesn't prohibit it if local laws don't prohibit it, right? So, go to a place where you can do whatever you want. Say, so I don't know of any places where there are no bans on any sort of mind-altering substances. We just have laws to deal with, what happens once you are in an altered state of mind. We have laws against driving while intoxicated. You're not allowed to drink and drive. We have laws against driving while you're high. You're not allowed to drive under the influence. But that happens after the fact, right? So what about before you start drinking, smoking, shooting up, dropping acid, whatever the case may be? What do we do? At that point, what's the law then? Okay, so the when it comes to alcohol, there's really not any real restrictions. I mean, there are, but there aren't. So the restrictions when it comes to alcohol are you should not get completely and totally hammered. There are exceptions again, but that's the general rule. If you do, okay, technically it's not a sin. It's just not wise. According to the book of Proverbs, there are a bunch of different things that are not wise to do. It's not, this would be conduct unbecoming if you were in the military. They don't call it that in the civilian world. This would be beneath you to be publicly intoxicated, to be drunk. Here's just kind of a fun fact: if you're under the influence of mind-altering substances, so alcohol or drugs, right? You're not allowed to pray. That's a fun one. You're not allowed to study Torah. That's a fun one. Why are you not allowed to do those things? Well, because you're in an altered state of mind. You're not thinking clearly. So you're not allowed to pray, because what if you pray the wrong thing? And by that I mean, instead of saying one thing, you say the exact opposite thing. Could happen. It's a technical possibility. So that was really just sort of covered. When it comes to recreational use of drugs, okay, there is no law from the Torah. There's no law. You just sort of use your best judgment. Now, your best judgment, I'm going to tell you right now, your best judgment is don't. If you need a voice telling you not to, don't. It's too easy for problems to develop from that. But, do with that what you will. That being said, I've reached everything that I had planned for this video, actually. When it comes to prescription drugs, Jews are obligated to take them. We're obligated to do exactly as the doctor prescribes. Non-Jews are not, but still you really should anyway. When it comes to preventative medical things, okay, that's when things get a little bit cloudy. When it comes to vaccines, for example, is this a new vaccine? If it is a new vaccine, you might want to hold up on it until we at least know how it's going to react. If I had said that just a couple of years ago, I would have been shut down immediately. But now I can say that because now suddenly, the United States is finding out all the stuff about COVID-19 that they didn't want us to know. Whoever they is, they did not want us to know some things. But it's all coming to the surface now, and so that's exciting, because now that means I'm not going to get shut down for saying, ask questions. Specifically, has this been proven to have negative side effects? If it has, okay, so think about it a little bit better. Now, when it comes to recreational drugs, drugs that are not with prescription, use your best judgment. Your best judgment should be don't get obliterated. Don't get to the point where you're not able to control yourself. I'm not going to tell you don't smoke. I'm not going to tell you, don't. No, I am going to tell you don't shoot up. Okay, that's gross. It's unsanitary. And it causes more problems than it fixes. I realize it's a nice escape. Especially if you've just sort of had a bunch of bad stuff going on. Don't shoot up. I don't care what we're talking about. Don't shoot up. Unless a doctor gave it to you and put it in your hand and said, this is how you do it, and you need to do it X amount of times a day, don't shoot up. Okay. When it comes to hard drugs, psychedelic drugs, hallucinogens, that sort of thing, in general, you should avoid it. Halachically, there's technically nothing wrong with it, but in general, you need to avoid it. Okay. Anything in my general outlook is, anything that you could potentially get addicted to, you should really not get to the fun part if you need to use it. I don't have any real advice for when that might be, but in general, don't do enough to where you're just sort of, I don't even know how to say it. Don't. You should not get high. There, let's just word it like that. You should not get high unless there are legitimate medical reasons for you taking whatever the drug is. You should not get high. That being said, if you do, don't go too far. Keep yourself from getting addicted. And if you think that you might be getting addicted, you need to get help, like now. And by help, I mean not your buddy who sold it to you. I mean, talk to a doctor about it, because it will mess you up. That's the true pandemic. It's sweeping the world. Illicit drugs are killing people. So use your best judgment. Use your brain. God gave it to you for a reason. And in general, you should avoid doing things that you could potentially get addicted to, because that will mess up your life. I realize life sucks, let's be honest. Sometimes it sucks, but you don't need to escape from it. Okay? God hasn't called us to escape from where we are. He's called us to transform it, to work where we are in the state that we're in, and we need to transform it, turn it from not so great into, maybe a little bit better, as best as we can. That being said, I am done. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a like. If you have not subscribed to this channel yet, go ahead and subscribe. Come on, man, what are you waiting for? God, some people's children, man. God. Go ahead and turn the notifications on while you're at it, now that I've shamed you into doing it, so that you get to see my beautiful smiling face every time I put out a new video. If you have not done so, go ahead and find me on Facebook, man. Just type into the search bar an unorthodox Jew. I should pop up. I assume I would be the top one, but I don't know. But it's not very hard to find me, once you get on there. Go ahead and find me. Like/follow, whatever the case may be. I don't even know what they call it anymore. Yeah, go ahead and find me. Like/follow. If you have questions, go ahead and ask me questions. Send me a message on Facebook if you want. Just go ahead and say hi. All you got to do is just, hey, howdy. Just leave a comment on one of the videos for all I care. Just sort of reach out, say hi. Let me know if you enjoyed something. Let me know if you have questions about something. You can ask questions in the comments for this video, or you can go to Facebook and just privately message me. I will keep whatever you ask me between us, unless I make a video about it, in which case the whole world is going to know your name. I'm just kidding. Nobody's going to know your name because I'm not going to tell anyone. Okay, I'm done. I'm done. For real, I'm done this time. So until next time, shalom.